The tragedies befallen Morrowind do bring forth pity from even the stoutest Nordic heart. The Dark Elves deserve our condolences, but thus far they do not show themselves deserving of the simplest acts of charity. There are very different approaches on how to deal with the imminent problem of Morrowind, and I offer two options as seen in practice in Skyrim. One should serve as an exemplar, the other a cautionary tale. Consider Riften, which shares a border with the ruined province. A number of the Dark Elves have made their homes there, but they are expected to earn their livelihood, as is any other citizen of the great city. They ply trades as merchants, work in the temple, and serve in the keep. Honest labour to be admired from a race that was so recently in such dire straits as to even warrant this discussion. Today the city still has its share of problems, but they are not traceable to any influx of outsiders in their presence. In short, the Dark Elves have properly assimilated themselves into the Skyrim way of life, to be expected from any newcomer to these lands. For an alternative approach, we only have to look at the once proud city of Windhelm to see what can happen when our arms are cast too wide open in welcome. To think that the city of Ysgramor, whose very name was made in driving out the elves from our sacred home, would open itself as a welcome destination for any refugees from the smoking sulphur, is a disgrace to the very idea of being a Nord. And what has become of this? Predictably, the lazy, discontented rabble has descended into squalor in an area now delicately referred to as the Grey Quarter of this city. They were not expected to contribute, and so have not. That they attempt to make over a proud Nord city into a little pocket of Morrowind is insulting enough, but the amount of unrest they have provoked even within the proper city walls should give any other Jarl a reason to fear. The Nords I talk to in the city speak of constant strife and crime coming from the Grey Quarter, with no respite in sight. The city guard barely patrol there, leaving the Dark Elves to mete out whatever passes for justice in their native customs. The respectable families of the city, the Cruel Seas, and the Shatter Shields speak with an almost parental affection of the Argonians in their employ, but the Dark Elves have made no effort to assimilate themselves to the proper city dwellers. There is cause for optimism though, as Jarl Ulfric is not nearly so tolerant of these substandard beings as his fathers were. Indeed, the soft hand of Hogg can be seen in the city's Argonian population as well. The fishmen at least have learned how to best contribute to their new home. They have proven themselves as models, toiling at the docks with utmost efficiency and bright smiles. It would do the Dark Elves well to pay heed to their scaly cousins. I would expect in due course that they will find themselves either contributing more directly or once again wandering the land in search of a roof and warmth. Now say what you will about Bethesda, but this is just ingenious layering of depth by the writers. As when the game came out, for someone who didn't read all the countless books in the Elder Scrolls games, like myself, I always found myself siding with the Stormcloaks against the Empire. However, we see through ridiculously xenophobic authors, like this guy here, that that's probably not a good idea. Through word choice of lesser beings and fishmen, we see the discrimination and the small-mindedness of authors as they're filling the heads of Stormcloaks and Nords. And we see so many examples in our own world of misinformation and controversy surrounding immigration. And yes, the Dark Elves of Morrowind were infamous for their slavery and xenophobia. It could be viewed as ironic that they were forced from their home due to the eruption of Red Mountain, and forced to try and settle somewhere else. In this case we're given the examples of the Dark Elf refugees in Riften and in Windhelm. I think the one positive aspect to this author is that he compliments Riften, which isn't very often in the literature in the Elder Scrolls. But I think that in the case of Windhelm, the author genuinely believes that the Dark Elves should just bend the knee and act like slaves to fit in. If there's one thing I've learned in life, is that you should always read various sources, and not just the ones that suit your argument. And to keep a level head and show compassion when necessary. Think about how your choices impact others, and don't just join the Stormcloaks to make Skyrim great again.